Hello everybody, my name is Jennifer Maker. Today I am showing you how to personalize and etch a glass casserole dish on the Great Maker Show and Tell. So a year ago, I taught you how to etch glass using a vinyl stencil and some etching cream. And we have been having so much fun etching things ever since then. I love your projects. And using this technique, you can personalize nearly any glass, including wine glasses, coasters, and decorative glass plaques. It's really quite easy. But what if you want to etch a glass bakeware dish, like a Pyrex casserole dish? You can do it and still put food in it. Yes, you totally can. And I'm going to show you how in this tutorial. Now, glass etching is really nothing more than roughening up the surface of the glass in specific areas to create a design. You can do it in a bunch of different ways, but the easiest way, in my opinion, is to do it chemically using an etching cream. You can literally just paint a design with the etching cream right onto your glass, wait a bit, rinse it off, and you'll get a design. But it's much more effective and attractive to create and apply a vinyl stencil and then put the etching cream on, because it only goes where the stencil isn't. And this is the technique that I'm teaching you today. So for this tutorial, you're going to want a glass casserole dish, or really any kind of glass bakeware will do. Now, I've heard reports that older Pyrex casserole dishes, like those made before 1998, were made of a different type of glass called borosilicate, and that is harder to etch. That kind of glass is harder to etch. But all the Pyrex casserole dishes sold in the US since then etch just as well as any other sort of glass. So don't worry too much about this, unless of course you're going to pull out a really ancient casserole dish from your cupboard and use that. Now for this tutorial, I am using a 2-quart 7-inch by 11-inch oblong Pyrex baking dish that I bought from Amazon. Links to everything in this tutorial are in the video's description below. You also need some permanent adhesive vinyl and a way to cut your stencil, like an awesome Cricut cutting machine, and you can use the Explorer or the Maker or anything that will cut the vinyl. And I prefer permanent over removable because I think that forms a tighter seal and thus a better and clearer etch design. And of course, you also need the etching cream itself. So I use Armor Etch glass etching cream, and it works really great. You don't need to use very much either, so a little goes a long way, especially if you use my technique. Other useful things to have on hand for this tutorial when etching your glass bakeware include transfer tape for getting your vinyl stencil onto your glass bakeware. You also need to clean the bottom or the sides of your bakeware before applying the stencil, so alcohol for that. And you have to make sure you don't etch outside the lines of your design, so you'll want masking tape. Other tools that are useful are a paintbrush, a weeding tool, and a scraper. And a word about safety, be sure to read the instructions on the back of your etching cream bottle. It'll tell you what to be careful about. Pay attention to these safety precautions, and if you get something on you, it'll tell you what to do. I recommend you wear gloves, an eye protection, and an apron while you're working with the etching cream to be safe. Now, the key to etching glass casserole dishes, or pie dishes, or whatever, any other kind of glass that's going to come into contact with food, is to put the design on the outside of your glass. So that means you want to put it either on the dish's underside, here, or on the outer edges. And this allows you to cook food into the bakeware, normally without any harm to the etching itself. And in the process of etching, a very thin layer of glass is removed, and that area can be more susceptible to staining from food. But if you put your etching on the outside of your bakeware, it's pretty much never going to come into contact with food, at least in a way that's going to stain it, and it stays looking great. And I will show you how to apply your stencil to the underside of your dish so that it actually shows through in the right orientation. Now, the only other thing to take into consideration is the raised lettering that's usually on the back. So this one I can kind of see it. It's on the bottom of the glass bakeware. I personally don't care about the lettering. and I just ignore it. It doesn't matter. The etching cream still works on it. But if the lettering really bothers you, you can just place your design around the lettering. So you design it around it by measuring and moving your design elements before you cut out your stencil. And I explain exactly how to do this in my tutorial on how to make vinyl decals for kitchen appliances at jennifermaker.com/vinyl decals. So you can do that. Now, to get you started on this project, I'm sharing several free stencil designs that are perfect for glass casserole dishes. So let me show you where you can find those free designs over on my blog at jennifermaker.com, and then I will show you how to etch your casserole dishes with the stencils and the etching cream. Your first step is to get my free casserole dish stencil designs. To do this, go to jennifermaker.com, and in the red bar at the top of the screen, click on Libraries and choose Enter the Library. And once you've done that and put your password in, scroll down, and I have things organized in here so you can just browse, but the fastest way to look for what you want is to search the page for the word casserole. Once you find it, go ahead and click the link and it downloads to your computer, and it's really that simple. Now, if you're new to using SVG files or DXF or PDF, which I also provide, I have a free guide for you called SVGs Made Simple, and you can get that at jennifermaker.com/SVGs. It explains how to download them, how to unzip them, how to customize them, and how to use and upload them. So here we have the unzipped file that has the DXF, PDF, and SVG files in it. Now I'm going to show you how to customize the design files in Cricut Design Space, as I'm using my Cricut cutting machine to make this stencil today. Your next step is to prepare your design for cutting. So you want to open Cricut Design Space and click Upload on the left, Upload Image, and then Browse. Find the SVG file in the archive that you downloaded from jennifermaker.com and open that. And then click Save. It saves to the cloud, and you can select it and then put it onto your canvas just like this. And I will move this so that we can see the whole thing. There's 4 designs in here. You're free to use or customize any of those. I'm going to click Ungroup, and then I'm going to hide the ones that I'm not going to work with today. So I just click on them and I click the Delete key on my keyboard and it deletes them. All right, so let's make this design a little bigger so we can see it. I want to put my name in the banner here, and I'm going to show you how you can put your name in there as well. So we click Text, and you want to type the word that you want to personalize your dish with. So I'm going to type Jennifer. To change your font, make sure your text is selected, and then click on the Fonts menu up at the top and search for a font that you want and click it. I'm using Helvetica Bold, which should be free for everybody to use. Just want to make sure you select Bold from the Style menu there. You want to make it big enough so it mostly fills the space, but not completely. And then change the color to white so we can see what it looks like. And then click and drag it onto your banner, just like this. And if it needs to be bigger or smaller, this is the time to change that. When it looks good, I recommend that you select both the text layer and the design layer and choose Align Center to make sure everything is centered. Now select just the text layer and go up to Curve and move the slider bar to the left just a bit so that the curve matches the curve of the banner. Now it's important to note that this curve feature is only available on Design Space for desktop currently. It's not on the iPad, iPhone, or Android, but hopefully it'll be there at some point. So if you want to use the curve function, you're going to want to use your desktop or laptop. When it looks good, select everything and then click Slice. And that's going to slice the text right out of the banner, which is what we want. And it creates extra layers. We click them and we delete them because we don't need the extra layers. We just want one layer when we're all done. So click both those layers. Now we have one layer and it's got our name right in the middle and it looks awesome. And this is exactly what we need to make our stencil for our casserole dish. Now it's important to check the size and make sure that it matches the size of your dish. Always measure it. If you need to change the size, you just come up to the top here, type in a new size. You can make it bigger or smaller. You're going to want to make it not edge to edge with your casserole dish. You want to make sure there's a margin around it, but definitely make sure it fits. So click Make It, and that brings us to the preview page. It's very important that we mirror it. If we don't mirror our stencil, it's not going to show through properly. It's going to look upside down, in fact, when we look at our casserole dish from the top. So you got to mirror your vinyl stencil. Be sure to do that. Now it's time to cut it. So we select our Cricut. You can do this on any of the Cricuts that cut vinyl and use Design Space. And you want permanent vinyl for this project. So we search for vinyl and we click on permanent vinyl or premium vinyl. That's what the permanent adhesive vinyl is. I changed my pressure to more, and that's it. Let's go ahead and cut out this vinyl stencil on my Cricut, and I'll show you how to apply it to your casserole dish. Step 3, cut out your casserole dish design. Now cut out a piece of permanent vinyl to the right size for your design. Again, I recommend permanent vinyl over removable vinyl because I believe it forms a tighter seal for the stencil. Place your permanent vinyl color side up on a green standard grip cutting mat. Now load your fine point blade into your Cricut machine. Press the flashing button to begin your cut. And that's it. Step 4. Reverse weed your cut vinyl to make a stencil. Carefully reverse weed your design using a weeding tool. Reverse weed means that you're only removing the vinyl that you want your etching to appear under. So, in other words, you're removing the design elements and leaving the rest of the vinyl on the sheet. If your design is not centered on your vinyl, trim it so all sides are equal. This will help you when it comes to centering it on your casserole dish. Once your vinyl is weeded, cut a piece of transfer tape the same size as your vinyl backing and apply it to the front of the vinyl decal. I recommend you do the taco method where you fold up your transfer tape and place it down the center and then spread outward. Using your scraper, go over the entire decal to make sure it adheres to your transfer tape. Gently remove the backing from the vinyl. Your stencil is now ready to transfer to your glass casserole dish. Step 5. Apply your vinyl stencil to your casserole dish. First, check which direction the raised lettering on the bottom of your casserole dish is going, and then turn your dish so that the lettering is the same side as what you're planning to put your stencil down onto, because it's going to bug you if the words are upside down and reversed from your stencil. You know what I mean? So just make sure they're matching. Now wipe down your glass casserole dish by cleaning it with isopropyl alcohol and a lint-free cloth or a coffee filter. Be sure to let it dry, which takes less than a minute. Carefully place your vinyl stencil on the underside of your glass casserole dish. I recommend you curve your decal a bit, like a taco, just like with your transfer tape, so only the center touches the glass, and then press from the center out towards the edges to smooth it into position. This will give you a better seal with fewer creases or bubbles. Now use your scraper over the entire surface of the transfer tape to adhere the vinyl stencil well to your glass casserole dish. When you feel that it's stuck down there really well, gently remove the transfer tape at an angle, leaving only the vinyl stencil on the dish. Your goal is to have no wrinkles or creases at the edges of your design. If you don't have a wide margin on your vinyl stencil, I recommend that you put some masking or painter's tape around the edges of the vinyl to prevent getting any etching cream at the sides, right? So just make a box around the edges or wherever you need to make sure that there's not going to be any etching cream. Cover that with a masking tape right now. Step 6. Brush the etching cream on your dish. Now you're ready to etch. First, remember to wear gloves, an apron, and protective glasses. Safety first. You should also shake or stir your Armor Etch etching cream before you use it. Now, using a regular brush, definitely avoid foam brushes. Brush on the minimum amount that you need to cover the glass that shows underneath your vinyl stencil. You do not need to gob the etching cream on at all. A little goes a long ways, it really does. Now brush the etching cream around your design for 5 full minutes. always keeping it in motion. Brush up and down, side to side, and diagonally, and just keep doing that for 5 minutes. Keep that cream moving around your design and getting it into every nook and cranny. This is the secret to getting a beautiful, consistent looking etch. Step 7. Rinse off the etching cream after 5 minutes. So after you brushed it around for a full 5 minutes, rinse off the etching cream. If you used a lot because you, didn't follow my directions, or you just felt like it, or you made a mistake, I don't care, whatever. If you used a lot of the cream, feel free to scrape it back into your container so that you can use it again, and then rinse the etching cream off. Make sure you get all of the cream off. You do not want to accidentally touch it or get it on your work surface later on. Step 8. Remove your vinyl stencil. Once your casserole dish is rinsed off completely, dry it off and remove that vinyl. Now, if you use permanent vinyl like I recommended, it may take a little effort to come off, but it totally will. As you can see, it's coming off here. And once you've got all that vinyl removed, wipe the surface down again with rubbing alcohol to make sure you got all the gunk off and all the little bits of adhesive that might have stuck there, anything, all of it off. And that's it. Enjoy your beautiful etched casserole dish. You can see how lovely and consistent this etching technique is. And there's just so many different things that you can do with this. So many different designs. You can put your name all over it. I mean, in this tutorial, I only put it on the bottom, but you could totally put it on the sides. Just keep your stencil on the outside of your casserole dish or your pie dish or whatever it is, your baking dish, whatever it is you're making, so that, no food touches it and you'll be golden. I love personalizing my Pyrex and other glass bakeware with etched designs. Not only do they make great housewarming and wedding gifts, but they're awesome to make for things like potlucks and family dinners or any other thing where you're getting together and sharing a dish. Because if you use the personalized Pyrex, you're always going to get your dish back, aren't you? Now, if you have any questions at all about how to personalize your dishes with etching cream, I am happy to help. Just let me know. Ask a question in the comments below this video, or better yet, for a faster reply, come on over to my Cricut Crafters group at jennifermaker.com/Cricut Crafters. And if you don't yet have a Cricut to cut out your vinyl stencil, I'm holding a giveaway for the chance to win a Cricut cutting machine. So you could enter for the giveaway at jennifermaker.com/Cricut giveaway. You can get all the details over there as well. It's awesome and it's actually quite fun. And remember, I am always interested in your project ideas. Leave a comment or idea below this video, or come on over to my giveaway because I actually have a way for you to enter as part of the giveaway and get an extra entry. And your ideas mean a lot to me, and I try to make as many of them as I can. And yeah, in fact, if you can tell me what you want to make and even show me a picture of what you're trying to do, I can show you how to make it. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.